Thanks for having us. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know about all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit much.
All right, just real quick, everybody, just for a line check, go ahead and tell us who you are, real quick, so I can identify voices and stuff.
Okay, so I'm TC Thief or Jax Power Tech from Hates You. I'm one of the officers over there, and I raid currently with Not Good Enough. So I'm back and forth between the two though.
Okay.
Hates You's on like kind of a break right now. Um, don't know really what the status is, but I don't know. I'm not ready now. Like period. I'm with the with with shit the way it is. I'm just kind of pissed off. So I'm pissing and moaning.
Hold,
I,
hold.
Yeah, wait, hold on to that rage.
I'm in the pissing and moaning phase.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm Kurt from Not Good Enough. I'm one of the officers of Not Good Enough. Currently raiding with Jack and Not Good Enough. Occasionally raiding with Prevectus time to time. And yeah, I'm pissed off as well, and we're here to talk about that.
I'm sensing a theme here.
I'm Kalizo. I'm from Prefectus, one of the officers over there. And same thing, kind of have Kurt come tank with us every now and then I'll come deal with not good enough every now and then as well too.
I'm a sniper DPS from.
I'm sorry.
What?
You said he was sorry for your class.
Oh. I'm Trax. I'm a sniper DPS from Phantom on Red Eclipse. Been raiding Nightmare for about 2.5 years, and I'm also pissed off.
All right, cool.
Trying to like, eat my dinner at the same time, so I'll just mute randomly so you don't hear it.
What are you having for dinner? Anything good?
It's like pasta bolognese. So.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. All right. Well,
All right. Good times.
hopefully you know us. I'm Brian.
I'm Chuck. So you know,
And,
know the voices.
So yeah, just real quick before we start rolling, I kind of want to we're gonna keep it pretty open. Obviously there's been a lot of announcements in the last week, 10 days about in-game group content, PvE specifically, including today we got the non-announcement for anything coming, even being mentioned for PvE. So we're gonna talk to you guys about what you do in game, what pisses you off, what you'd like to see, et cetera, et cetera. And we're just gonna kind of throw it around the room as we continue on down. But if you got something you want to add, just go ahead and jump in. We're not gonna really be tight as to who gets to talk when. Just if you have a comment, just go ahead and jump in and keep it loose and kind of informal.
So is this gonna be like
Sounds
the
good.
the fuck one, or is this gonna be a fuck free podcast?
No,
No.
this is a fuck one. This is fine. This is a not safe for work podcast. So
Fuck yeah.
so let the f bombs fly. Don't worry about it.
If we could get some curses in other languages too, I think that'd be rad.
Kurt's got you.
Probably it.
Well, if you heard our last episode, I did enough cussing for everybody on our last episode.
Snipers, sad
Fucking
day.
sniper motherfucker. Phil Flarm.
Okay, sniper. Please.
No, my nerf sniper is just not happy in PvP right now. It's not fun.
I know. Installed as soon as I saw that patch note.
Oh no! Oh no!
You don't really see larger than 10k crit on a sniper right now in PvP.
No,
No.
it's sad.
Like I said, I'm just gonna put on all absorption gear so I can stand in the corner and at least maybe survive for more than 5 seconds. It'll be fun.
And last thing for kind of housekeeping, all you guys are 10 of 10 Rav Toss, and you've cleared all nightmare modes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
I figured as much, but something I will never do. All right, cool. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming along, and let's go ahead and kick this thing off.
All right, good times.
Give us a little dead air here.
I get carry though. I'm shitty.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce a kind of roundtable that we have put together with some friends of ours of kind of what's left of the Nightmare raiding community. And I'm going to introduce some. These are the all-stars.
I mean, we don't want to be too flattering about how top end these guys are.
Well, I do.
but I would say, if you're looking at the end game top end players that are in SWTOR that still exist, these would be the guys that we're talking about.
These are the guys, yeah. So I want to introduce first, we have from the guild Provectus, we have Kalizo. Say hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming on. And from the guild Phantoms, we have Thrax.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And from NGE, which stands for Not Good Enough, we have Kurt.
Yo, yo.
And from Hates You on our home server of Shadowlands, we'd like to introduce Chris.
Hello.
I think I've run into those guys a couple of times.
I have.
I've gotten ganked by them in PvP a few times here and there.
I was saving up for a carry through Dread Fortress. Damn it.
Oh.
Should have gotten my wings when I had the chance.
Right? No kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everybody for coming together because obviously we've heard a few things about group content and what's coming soon and what we can expect or not expect, especially from the PvE side.
And we made a lot of hay about it, as far as, from our perspective, as far as being a guild, I don't want to say beginner, but, we're still kind of in the start now phase. And for us, we still have a lot of challenges ahead of us within the content that exists, but we also know that there's, it's finite. It's definitely finite compared to what you guys have done, because you guys have cleared everything.
Everything. Congratulations, by the way. So first, I'm just gonna kick it off to Kalizo. What do you do now that you've cleared all the things?
What do I do? Well, a lot of it for us is like we like the people that we play with. That really is what it comes down to. I mean, that's the reason why we all play this game. Right? We like the people that we play with. The other thing that my raiders and myself really enjoy is the challenge, and we're looking for any way, shape, or form to challenge us in this current content. So Bioware is making it really, really hard right now to find that, but that's essentially kind of what we're doing. Is we're just trying to do anything that we can to keep everyone together, keep everyone playing, having fun, and more importantly, just challenging each and every one of us. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Well, let's go around kind of the same question for everybody, really. So what are you guys currently doing in game as a guild and personally that's kind of keeping you around? I mean, are you entertained or not entertained?
Shall I speak?
Personally, I uninstalled like a week after we cleared everything because once everything got announced and all the drama happened, I was like, it doesn't look like things are gonna really get much better, and just kind of proved that from either this morning's comments or comments made by Bioware. So I'm currently playing Counter-Strike, so that's what I'm doing.
Fair enough. And what about you, Kurt and Chris? What are you all up to?
You go first, Kurt.
Okay. Me and Chris are pretty much raiding and not good enough together right now. On 8-man, we pretty much cleared all the content in the first month. 16-man, due to the expansion and the PvE, I'll call changes, we lost a lot of players, so on the 16-man content-wise, we're still working through some of it. Not a lot though. And as soon as that is done, we are looking into playing another game while raiding once or twice a week on SWTOR. That's pretty much the end of it, and that's how Not Good Enough stands right now. I can't speak for HC, you will need to do that, Chris.
Okay, so I come from originally Group B of Hates You, which was the old Group B of Hates You when Group A was still around, Group A being People like Batterum, Cat Like Thief, Zalix, Orderkin. Orderkin was the one that wrote the healing guide, and a few other like really outstanding members of just the SWTOR community. So when I guess after Revan, after the farm happened, a lot of members of Hate You Group A left the game and were like, we'll come back with content. So that's when Group B took over. Both Group A and Group B of Hate You killed Revan, both pre-nerf. Hate You A farmed it for a little while and then left, and then Group B, we came in and we farmed the shit out of that boss. I was talking to Kalizo, and I think our highest one is we killed the boss 9 times in 1 week, 4 times in a night. And
Damn.
yeah, we got tired of that content, so Hate You A kind of reformed when 4.0 dropped, and they kind of had a group called like washed up shitters. That was their funny group. They all came back, and so they were all washed up, and just Hate You, we're all shitters. That's what we call each other. But they both A and B were raiding, and we cleared a couple of the nightmare bosses in Hate You A and B. I think A cleared most of the nightmare bosses. I don't think there was. I'm pretty sure they killed all of the nightmare bosses, and B killed most of the nightmare bosses. And we kind of came to a point where we're like, what in the fuck are we doing? Like, we've killed all of these bosses. We're not getting anything from these bosses, so like, what are we doing? This is stupid. So that's when A kind of broke up, or Washed Up Shitters broke up, and the new Hate You A that was formerly B, known as B and stuff like like Prince and shit. But we kind of decided, hey, we're gonna not break up as a raid group. We're just gonna go on hiatus until new operations are dropping. So that's currently at the standing with both A and B, and it's because our members are pissed. It's like, there's all of us are best in slot 224s. Like, as soon as the second week happened, or as soon as the week happened that was dropping the 204 main hand, or 224 main hand, everybody was BIS. Like, that ended
Yeah,
the.
that was like week 3 or week 4.
Yeah, so that ended the gear grind, which in a progression or in, an RPG, once the gear grind stops, it's like it's over. It's done. Nobody wants to farm, nobody wants to do anything
Yeah, no
anymore.
one's-
So there's no incentive for anybody to run. And like right now, there's absolutely no incentive to run Nightmare because like why if I've already beat it number 1, why the fuck would I go in and farm it if it doesn't drop 224s? Like, I mean, we've already done it to prove to everybody, look, we could do it at level 65. Haha, we're cool. We're still cool, even though we beat this boss 2 years ago. But there's no incentives. There's no incentive to go do Nightmare. Like, why do I want to bang my face against the wall for a piece of gear that, like,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, like it drops 220s. Like people are literally moving the 220s out of their inventory to fucking delete them because they don't have space because they don't want the crap. So
Well, another thing too, like, and you guys kind of touched on this in the previous podcast, but like, there's no differentiation anymore. I mean, the reason why we do what we do is because we want to differentiate ourselves and we want to be the best of the best, right? Like we want to shoot for those nightmare titles, those nightmare mounts, and more importantly, that nightmare gear. Like that's what we're going for. And we're at a point now where everybody in the game and their mother can go into a hard mode, farm the same gear. I mean, especially when they made EV the like the hard mode of the week. I mean, relics and main hands for everyone on that. That's like it just kind of like sticks a knife in our back and just communicate. Like Bioware communicates to us that we just don't matter. Like incentivizing, challenging yourself in nightmare content just isn't worth it.
That makes sense. So, a couple months ago, we saw kind of an exodus of a lot of the upper tier raiders. Zords disbanded, Death and Taxes, a couple others. What's kept you guys around since the whole thing with the 208 main hands and the announcement back 6 months ago that we'd not see any more ops.
Is it just hope?
Honestly,
We had a dream of 4.0 might be a glorious place, but it was
Yeah.
basically AIDS. So
A lot of it was hope. A lot of it was just hoping and praying. And like I was in Zors, and I had Marisi and Freaky and even YOLO, joined Pay Chile. So those guys like left, and then we all kind of came back and still kind of stuck around. Like Mari still raids with me, Freaky still raids. Like, so we still have people that are kind of just kicking around. And at this point, it's more so just because we enjoy the game. We do. We live like at a base level. We do really enjoy the game, but we're finding it hard every time BioWare opens their mouth to convince ourselves that we still like this game.
yes.
Well, that makes sense. So, after that, are you finding it tough to recruit? I noticed that a lot of you guys raid in each other's guilds. There's a lot of crossover there. So, between the four of you, is there even 32 players, or are you struggling to find members?
We're not
Not Good
recruiting.
Enough right now has 20 players, and that's about it. But those 20 players, aside from Jack, Kalizo, and occasionally Thraxi raided with us at the start of this expansion, I believe we have a constant 16 that we had for years now. But that's about it. New players come and go, but it's really, really rare right now.
Well, the one thing that I noticed a lot is like there's such a shrinking of the quote unquote top tier community. I mean, like before we used to all be really, really competitive with each other, and like you're either this or you're this, and you can't be that, right? We would always kind of compete. But now, I mean, like we're at the point where you just raid with anybody you can that
Yeah.
has like a level of skill that you would say is competent.
Well,
I mean, that's why we're seeing so much crossover right now.
yeah, well, essentially, there's no more competition. Like, yo, server first or world first, Dread Fortress, Brontis, level 65 kill, said nobody ever. You know what I mean? Like, who goes and plugs the forums and, like, yo, we killed this shit first? Like, no, we killed this shit first 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Nobody, like, it's just. Progression.
There's nothing new.
Yes.
To brag about. Yeah. Well, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, because like we had said on the previous podcast, like you want to have that notoriety. That's the whole point of having that kind of competition between people. And I mean, I guess if there is one like good thing that comes out of it is that instead of being adversarial with another guild, and in that competition you guys sort of play together a little bit more than you did before, and it's you've unified in one front where we hate one thing.
Instead of each other.
But really that sort of diffuses the competition and diffuses the reason that you guys do it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Now there's no competition.
Yeah, essentially the only reason, because in Not Good Enough right now, there's people that haven't killed stuff that are actively raiding. So I mean, essentially, I think I'm raiding with Not Good Enough, and I'm not 100% operations, so that gives me incentive to go freaking do shit like kill bosses that I've already killed before and laugh about how my achievements are 2 years later than they are on my other server, but. I like trolling and going on the fleet and plugging my Dreadmaster kill that happened, a couple months ago and stuff. So, but
yeah, but even with that though, like a lot of the new players coming to the game, they don't even recognize what that even means.
Yeah.
Like,
but how do you bring? And I guess it sort of bleeds into the question of like recruiting new guild members and things like that. It's like how do you? Is it actually worth it at this point to try to bring other people in or new people in, or try to bring people up and get them to the level that you're talking about? Because I mean, in the end, they're going to be banging their head against the wall too.
I mean, at this point, all the good players in the game basically just play with each other, if that makes sense. Because even if they're not raiding on their primary server or their primary guild, there's always either one guild in their region or server that they can just transfer over and normally raid with. Because that happened to me on the first week, because I didn't have early access. I moved over to Auckland and raided with NGE for the first week and a half.
So let me throw this out to the group. What would you like to see? Is it more operations? Is it another difficulty added onto Ravtos? Is it single instance world boss, or would fixing the loot tables and adding new prizes to Nightmare content be enough?
I mean, fixing the loot table should have been in certain point. That's why most people
Yeah.
are salty.
I would say like
I mean-
at this. Sorry, go Thrax, go.
Oh no, you go.
Okay, I was just gonna say at this point, like, if Bioware did anything, like said anything or showed any inclination that they were thinking about us at all, I'd be stoked. Like, all of us here, we're not naive. We know that we are. There's not a lot of us. We don't take up a huge percentage of Bioware's, player base. We understand that. So catering to a small group of your player base is, not a smart business decision. But that doesn't mean that you can totally neglect this. So at this point, like if they said Nightmare loot is only on Nightmare or is going to be added to Nightmare, that would be positive in my eyes because it was showing that they listen to us and they actually care about what we say and how we want to play the game. I mean, in my mind, if you think about it, if you had PvPers and all of a sudden you took away the commendations that you got from PvP, that would be fixed instantly. Because in their area of the game, that's their incentive is to get comms, to gear up, to do all that stuff, right? Same thing if you took away your incentives to do GSF or anything. Like if you took away all the things like the rewards for doing certain areas of the game, and those players outcried like they did with the companions, Bioware would fix that instantly. And all we're doing is asking for the same thing. And Bioware instead has come out and said, no, we're not doing that for you. This is what we're doing. And we're going to neglect you, essentially.
We're gonna do it in like 3 months as well, and not even do it fully. So,
Yeah.
So, do you agree with the design decision that the hard modes are for gearing and nightmare modes are for vanity items?
No.
Well,
Nightmare should be, in its own respect, much harder than hard mode, and that is
I
hard
have
to explain, it's just-
I have no problem with it, just as long as it drops the same thing as a hard mode. There shouldn't be less incentive
Yeah.
to do, like, by all means, we can go gear in hard mode or whatever, but you shouldn't go into Nightmare and it drops a lower tier of content. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Then it's like,
infinitely harder.
yeah, it's like,
Because Frontes in its current state, probably with the DPS now, is going to be a brick wall for like 90% of the people who try it, because even with the OP power techs at launch, all the kills of it have been like by a ball here, and like 1 person, 3 people alive on like half HP, so even that is going to be a brick wall.
Okay, this might cause some salt, but I'm gonna go out and say it. You guys have yet to touch EV and KP being in the highlighted list, and altogether the difficulty of the hard modes. Like, for example, and I speak for all of you in here with this in this podcast with me, that all of you did this. For example, as soon as EV got highlighted, third boss pylons, fourth boss commanders, fifth boss SOA, you can just leave one player inside or two in occasions. Just leave that 2-player inside, have them get the final boss kill, and they get the loot. Then do it all over again, and do it all over again, until
that's
everybody's BI is geared.
Yep.
yeah, well, it's like I said, gearing stopped the minute freaking EV launched because everybody who didn't have relics, didn't have an earpiece, didn't have, anything else, like literally you could 8-man the 16-man relics boss council and get 2 relics right there. You're a BIS on relics, which relics were always a big thing, like that everybody was needing on their mains to get relics and implants when the DFDP time frame was around, and it was only a chance that implants dropped and shit. So, I mean, I
Well,
expected
Other
it.
than that, it was the main hand too. That's the big thing.
Yeah, the main hand
is-
was the hardest
is
boss.
It's always in every tier. It's always been
Revan.
the pinnacle of gearing is to
What?
get that main hand.
What I don't get is why didn't they do Ravages before? Well, did they highlight Ravages before?
No, it
EV?
hasn't highlighted yet.
Like,
It still hasn't been highlighted.
I think, well, I knew that the EV was going to be a highlighted hard mode. I mean, they said hard modes are going to get highlighted. So if you didn't know that EV or KP was going to be a highlighted hard mode, like you had your head so far in the dirt, like it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? What I do think is in order to like extend out the gearing process, put Ravagers first because I mean, a lot of people are going to have problems with Master Blaster. Even the guilds that have killed it already will have problems with Master Blaster. So that's a big step into gearing. And then do, you know, freaking SNV second because the DPS check on hard mode freaking SNV, what's it called? Last boss, Styrak. I mean, the DPS check is there, man. Like, our first time pulling that boss, like, we enraged it. I mean, albeit we were in, like, 198s and stuff, but I was like, yo, why is the boss red and hitting really hard right now? So I think, you know what I mean? I think there is things that they could have done to make this content longer instead of like we are a couple, what is it, how many weeks after, are we 8 weeks after content release? Everybody's, all the raiders, nightmare raiders, are like tired of it now. They were like, oh, this is stupid, I don't even want to log.
Well, and that's actually, I mean, because that makes a lot of sense. Why, that speed of gearing and that speed that everything has gone through because of the highlighted of the week, that has sped everything up, whereas a lot of the other gameplay itself is slowed down, and it seems like you'd want it to be the other way around.
Yeah.
So it also sounds like you guys are talking about it's more about that in your drops, more about that in loot than it is about new content. I mean, because arguing about new content is
Oh,
is
that
some
option,
point at this point,
I took that option off the table a long time ago. I mean, I did, right, I was talking to YOLO earlier, like I was like, okay, 7 chapters starting in February, that puts maybe new content dropping in September. So I'm not even counting on new content, you know what I mean? Like if new content comes out before September, I'll do a backflip out of my second story window and shit, you know what I mean? It's just I'm not even prepared for it, but I mean, like right now the game is so dry. People out there that have been playing since launch that are founder rank status are exploiting the shit out of everything that they can find out wrong with the game, like this new exploit that just happened just recently, the stackable shit, Stella back. People are trying to get banned so they don't have to come back and play the game. But I mean,
so they actually have a reason not
yes.
Yeah,
I mean, so they're like,
we talked about that in the last episode too. It's like it's funny because it's the people that are taking advantage of that. It's just like a big middle finger to BioWare, and it's like whatever, we're gone, done, but without having to walk away.
Yeah, and here's kind of the point that we keep coming back to. The people that you talk about, the founders, the Nightmare level raiders, that they've sunk a lot of time into the game. Instead of them doing something positive like writing another guide or finding an exploit and reporting it, they're actually going out and trying to get banned, and they're spreading the exploit around. So you've taken all this energy and passion for the game, and it's turned upside down. Now it's this huge negative force of people trying to get banned and trying to break stuff now.
Well,
And
I mean, when you say that, you touch on guides. Like Thrax and I have both written guides for 4.0 for Dolphin.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've done that. But then when we put the effort and the time and energy into a game that we have played since launching that we love, and then BioWare comes out and says, "Here's how we want to repay you." I mean, I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody who wants to stick their finger up at BioWare and say, "Look what you're doing."
Yeah. And that's sort of my point, is that for you guys, I mean, we gear our podcast a little more toward the newer player, obviously, but the thing is that you guys are really important to the entire community, even though you are kind of a smaller percentage. And whether that weight is carried throughout the game because of things like that, because of guides, because of bug finds and fixes, because of glitches and all those things that you guys are discovering before everybody else gets to that content. And that's like some of the most important things that developers can use from you guys. So you're like a huge tool that they're just they seem to be kind of ignoring in a respect, and not really giving you guys stuff that'll keep you guys around, which is insane to me.
That's it.
We
Like,
had that problem last year when the Ravager's exploit was going around. People reported that on ETS, and they reported it even like as soon as it happened, and they fixed it like I think it was mid-January. So I'm not sure why. Like that was when people originally got tilted by BioWare. I know Milas I think left the game like soon after they killed Revan, and
Well,
like,
there's a couple things, but
things.
yeah, it was definitely the response time to the exploits, for counter exploits, was definitely one of the reasons why Milas and effectively Zords quit. They finished
As
because of that.
the original tilt of the fall of SWTOR, in my opinion.
Well, and it dovetails
Yeah.
out of that, you know, because the exploit was a high end gear drop, you know, so where you could, you know, get shit you didn't deserve.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
that's you gotta work for that stuff. I mean, that's the whole freaking point, right? Is you want people to work for the top end stuff, and that's who gets it. If I'm getting Nightmare level gear, I should be able to do what you guys are doing.
You should have to work for it.
I should have to work for it. I should, you know, shouldn't get lucky enough that that's the highlighted mode. Shouldn't get lucky enough that I can phase out of this at this boss and phase back in. Oh, magically get this gear.
Yeah. Well, and where were they? I mean, this shit went on for almost. I think it was
2 months.
was 2.5 months, right?
Yeah.
I
it's
mean-
about 2.5 months. Yeah.
So maybe it's because a little background on me. I'm in the army. I've been in the army for almost 18 years now, and I'm a company first sergeant. So like, if somebody makes that kind of mistake, or it's like such a big mistake that's going to impact such a vast majority of like, you know, personnel, whatever, like there's no we're gonna wait till we come off Christmas break. Like it's gonna be straight up like, yo, you, the guy that fucked up, go in there, take care of it right fucking now. No, I don't want to hear no. It's weekend. Get in and fix it right fucking now. And like you saw how much they cared about it. They're just like, yeah, whatever, man. Fucking Christmas break. We'll be back. You know, we gotta spend all this I gotta spend all this cartel coin money that I made and shit. Like, I don't know,
Well, and
man.
so the other thing I think out of this is that I'm trying to think about ways to go to solve this, right? And ways that if there is a solution to this. We kind of touched on that a little bit about fixing the loot drops, fixing some of that stuff. But I mean, you're also kind of pointing out the fact that this may be a little too late. You know, too little, too
Yeah,
late at this point
really
because everybody's already BIS. So it's like, well, what do we do now? So going forward, you know, new content maybe in a year.
Maybe.
You know, are we looking at new level tier gear where they give you that kind of incentive or something like that? I'm just trying to think of solutions to put out there for them because you know it is really about, you know, what do we want? What are our demands?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and the way I kind of look at it is like we're all kind of part of a big ecosystem. You know, we need the Nightmare Raiders to write guides, find bugs, and have something to aspire to. You know, we need the PvPers to, you know, help with fucking class balance and figure out why snipers need to be nerfed. You know, we need the story players. We need every single part. Like every role has a part to play in the larger ecosystem. And if the Nightmare raiding community is being driven away, well, that's a problem. So
well, hitting on what you're talking about right now, what, you know, how snipers needed to be nerfed. I'm sure Kurt and Thorax and Kaliza will tell you the same exact thing. I talked to Yellow about this for about 30 to 45 minutes earlier. There's no doubt in my mind that power techs were OP as fuck, that they needed to get nerfed. That snipers were OP as fuck. They needed to get nerfed. There's no reason why you should be hitting somebody for 29k fucking back-to-back ambushes in a war zone. It's just totally, it should not happen. But that being said, instead of nerfing the burst for the specs, they took the specs and nerfed the overall damage by not adjusting, i.e., how many shoulder cannons the fucking dude dead, what the biggest, how big your window is for explosive fuel, maybe crank back the damage on, ambush a little bit. They adjusted the overall damage of the class and made the classes do 600 to 800 DPS less. Like sometimes I think there's a monkey throwing darts at a dartboard, and that's like they're like, oh, fucking penetrating blast, I hit the penetrating blast freaking part of the dartboard. That's what we're gonna fucking nerf right there, and we're gonna nerf it by this amount. Like, they have no fucking idea.
How we talked about this yesterday, Chris, but like what we said yesterday is they have a little spin wheel in the office and they spin that.
Yeah, dude, they're just like.
So they throw the dart on the dartboard, say, okay, which move's getting nerfed? Okay, spin the wheel by that much. Okay, go.
Like a penetrating blast, like it doesn't fucking make sense. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
Like,
certainly with the sledgehammer instead of the scalpel is what it is.
yeah, like, okay, so with power techs, they could have taken away one stack of energy load, which would have made energy burst. Instead of it making it hit for 28k, it would have hit for, like, 23k. They could have took away some of the missiles from your shoulder cannon or shortened the window of a fucking explosive field. But instead, they nerf the fucking, like, I don't even want to log on. It pisses me off so much because I have 9 power techs and vanguards put together, across servers. So it's just, these fucking people are retarded, man. They're just retards.
It just goes to show that all they do to balance classes is just look at partially the board. Because engineering, if you actually play it in PvP or PvE, it requires a decent amount of skill to be able to get 100% uptime or like 90% uptime on plasma probe, I think, and that is like your main damaging ability.
Okay.
And just by nerfing absolutely everything, it just defeats the whole point of the spec being somewhat decent.
So I had a comment that.
Previously, it's like totally AIDS.
So.
Like 4.0 is not as bad. Sorry, go.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had a comment from somebody on the stream that said, what makes you think that these nerfs were for PvP? It seems like 100 PvE. It seems like 100. That was weird. It seems like 100 100% PvE intended. If you do not think these fucking changes, these nerfs were PvP, you are once again an ostrich and you have your head in the freaking dirt. These changes came from all the PvPer sorks, sages that were getting melted by power techs in war zones. The ones that went to the freaking what do you call it? The forums and cried, because always the ones with the loudest voice are the ones that are going to get heard. There is no doubt in my mind that these changes were PvP, as they should be. You should not be able to, like, the burst window for a power tech and the amount of damage output in your burst window was simply ridiculous. It needed to happen, but the overall damage did not need as much of a nerf as it got. So
you touched on something important there. Kind of like the people who cry the loudest get heard. The funny thing is that, like, I mean, we have posted on the forums numerous times about the nerfs and the things that it's done to the Nightmare community. And what happened, like, recently, Kurt? Like, what happened to your post recently?
They are just deleting posts.
They
the posts.
They deleted
About
them.
20 minutes and move into the bug section where nobody ever touches them.
They deleted them and started their own thread and made it seem like it was their own idea. That's what they do. They're like, hey, this is a great idea, the Nightmare Loot's broke. We found this shit out, but you can't read any of these posts that we've been making for the last 6 months.
So I mean, like it's just like the little things like that. And so I mean, like, I think, Chuck, you asked, like, what's the solution?
Yeah.
And I mean, at this point, like, if we want to go give the TLDR version, we just want attention. And it sounds kind of like all lovey-dovey and stupid, but that really is it. Like, we just want BioWare to say, we know, we hear your frustration, here's what we want to do for you. Specifically, we want to do, say, as an example, put Nightmare Loot into Nightmare. If you want to work harder for gear, because no person in the right mind would want to do that except us.
Yeah, and essentially, we're the only people that are affected by that. If you're affecting a small percentage of the community, it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you're not, it's not, like, these guilds that are farming hard mode that have problems with hard mode are gonna be able to go out and get a bunch of extra gear just because it's available for Nightmare raids now. Like it just
There's no downside to putting 224 level gear in Nightmares.
yeah.
Yeah, because if they're stuck on the content, they're just gonna use Nightmare Crystals anyway.
Yeah.
That's like such a big problem. Because that's why the Nightmare Crystals are in the game, to help people who can't make DPS checks or heal checks or getting the tanks are getting melted at certain mechanics. That's like the purpose of them, to help lower tier raiders be able to clear content.
Yeah, and like I understand, like trying to get new players into the game that have come for Kotfi and getting them into raiding, and getting them geared up quickly and like kind of like having that like you're new, come enjoy our operations or whatever. But I mean, it's the same thing with like a cell phone company. You don't treat your new customers better than you do your previous customers. I mean,
Well,
that's
I don't know.
at some point though, you got to call the retention department and see about what can you do for me lately. So hopefully we're part of that, being able to kind of put a voice to it a little bit more. Because I mean, obviously what we were talking about with the forums and stuff, and I think it's important. I think you guys are definitely important to the game, and you're important to me. Because
Oh.
because really I see the value in it. And I think a lot of people do, and I think it's important that guys like you are in there and people like you are in there doing this end game content, because it benefits all of us. And I think that sort of that has been ignored a little bit too much, and needs to be addressed. Whether that's a new tier of gear, nightmare loot, and nightmare modes only. I think that seems like a pretty good solution for the most part. So hopefully we can at least put some kind of voice to it. You know what I mean?
Well, they can't even
Absolutely.
they can't even get the vanity items right. They say Nightmare drops vanity items. Like Dread Palace is dropping Wings of the Architect, so you can't even get the Rancor anymore. So it's like, I mean, not that I want to go get the Rancor. Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense. They're like, hey, let's change these mount. I'll tell you what I want. I want BioWare to start making some decisions that don't make me sit back and be like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, I just want one decision where I would be like, wow, that's really gonna help the game out and go forward, and that's really gonna benefit the game in the future. Like, they just make decisions and they make these, calls that just make me sit back and think like, like, what are they thinking?
well, and that's I mean, that's the whole thing is like, what happens when there's no one left to write guide development? What happens when
Yeah.
what happens when development? I mean, like the first thing that we do for new players when we bring them into guilds. I mean, I remember back from like a long time ago before I was put a Nightmare Raider, is you point them to Dolphy. Like, hey, here's a good guide. It'll get you introduced into the game, introduced into the spec, and we can practice from there, right? But can you imagine a world in SWTOR where that isn't there? I mean, the overall level, yeah.
Yeah,
Overall
people
level is
people would use all the abilities that look really fucking cool, like lacerate. People would be sitting there lacerate, spamming and shit because it looks cool.
Awesome, dude. Yeah.
It looks cool.
Buttons to light up on the bar.
Or they'd be auto attacking because it doesn't cost any energy. They're like, oh yeah, this shit, I can do this forever.
You got sages like force speeding up into the boss and for like double striking them.
Yeah.
No, but I mean the overall skill of the skill level of the game is decreasing, and like that's to me that's the most frightening thing, is that if they want to make the game any harder, like Revan and Ravengers, like that's not going to happen again. They can't do that because they're driving away all the people that can actually finish that content.
Well, let me ask you this: did they overshoot the difficulty with Ravager's Temple of Sacrifice? Because at level, what, 24, maybe 36 guilds had 10 of 10?
I would say
That
no.
was a good difficulty.
We
for
love
everyone.
So
love that.
they're all gonna answer yes, we love it, yeah. But this is coming from us who went in there and we like beat it 2 months. I think I'm probably the one here with the latest achievement, and my achievement was in February. But they didn't overshoot. Those operations were awesome. What they did do is those bosses went such a long time without a nerf that it drove people away. Like those those operations released awesomely, and I think 3 months after not getting like a lot of people when the competition was over, I think they needed to nerf those bosses so people that your hard mode guilds could go in there and kill them. You know what I mean? Like
They did do that though. In 3.2,
they
that was the nerf to Revan.
one boss that they never touched. I was talking with YOLO earlier. They never touched Cortani, man, or Master Blaster. They never ever touched Master Blaster. It's difficulty harder, easier. They never touched it. And Cortani,
4.0 though, so I have no idea.
yeah, I mean, you go in there now, that motherfucker's a DPS check, dude. Like, even in 224s, like, the push on that fight is brutal. I mean, and with the hydraulics nerf, Kurt will sit here and piss and moan about this, but with the hydraulics nerf, the old, strats are impossible, man. You actually have to have a raid group. Yeah, man.
It's not even about the hydraulics nerf. What I have been moaning about on the forums, that they introduced a new skill to Vanguard, which is not viable to be used in PvE environments. Let's face it, it has a cast time, your target moves out of your range, it's immediately broken, you cannot channel it while on the move. And what did you get in return? You got a useless ability. They doubled the time on your hydraulic / hold the line, depending on what side you play. And they nerfed your storm, as the Vanguard storm is baseline now. They nerfed the storm and moved out of the Vanguard tanking baseline utility Blitz to be a utility that you can pick.
Well, that's
So they didn't give you an extra utility point to actually get it.
Yeah.
There are more useful things that you need to get it.
Well, that's my point exactly. By BioWare just throwing a dart at a dartboard, their answer to the fucking 30-second, heartbeat of Revancore, they're like, oh, well, the freaking cooldown on hydraulics is 30 seconds, so hey, 5 seconds seems good. We'll just make it 35 seconds with the nerf. Yeah.
Spin the wheel and add an extra 15. Like,
It's
it's the
just-
same thing.
I mean, that all comes down to PTS. If there's not enough people on PTS, because I think there was only maybe two or three guilds at a decent level that was on 4.0 PTS. I wasn't on PTS, sadly. But it comes down to the amount of players that are on the public test server that can actually test the range of classes and content, rather than having it more secretive. Have like
Yeah.
two guilds that don't really.
Well, and that's
4.0 was like AIDS when it launched, basically.
and that was
Uh,
like
PTS was mentioned twice now, Thrax, sorry for cutting in there. But we all who are in here tested 3.0 as it came out. Not Good
Yeah.
Enough, and speaking for Not Good Enough, was the only guild on there that tested 16-man content, as we are a 16-man guild. And what happened? We tested, we gave our feedback, we had literally hundreds of forum posts on the PTS forums. Game goes live, what happens? TOS third boss under Lurker, broken on 16 man, not able to do it for over 3 months. During that 3-month period, they released 16-man group finder, while there was a boss that is not you just couldn't kill it on 16 man unless you are really good at cheesing. Like, we gave our feedback, we gave free support, we tested the content for free, and what did they do with our feedback? They didn't even read it. Like,
Well-
they didn't take it into account.
the big thing too is like, I mean, in 3.0 they had a certain amount of high level guilds on PTS, doing the testing for that to kind of stretch the boundaries there.
Well, everybody who was
4.0.
anybody was on the PTS in 3.0. D&T, all the major
yeah.
guilds were on the
I know.
PTS.
No, but
NA got, for some reason, PTS access like 4 months before EU, which is.
like jumping forward to like the 4.0, I mean, Drax is right. There weren't any of us on there. I mean, we couldn't get on there. And like the only thing I can think of is that they geared their testing to the player base that they were making the content for, which is the story. More casual, more new to the game, new player base, and everything like that.
I
And
know
that
people
like
who got on. Oh, sorry to cut you off. This is
No,
a
go
bit.
for it.
But I know people that were on the 4.0 PTS who hadn't touched the game in over 6 months. So
yeah.
let that sink in.
And that's the same thing. I had friends in the same boat that had, took a break from the game and all of a sudden, we're on the PTS. And I mean, the whole thing is that we missed testing the upper curve of the difficulty in everything. I mean, like you totally hit on the head when you say like we're an economy and we all have different parts to play, and I think that we had a part to play in that, and Bioware neglected us, and that was step one. That was the first like, wait, what? We're not getting on it? Like, we've always gotten on it. Why aren't we getting on it now? That
Well,
was the first sign of neglect. And then it happened more and more and more
Well,
and more. And now we're at the point where every time Bioware opens their mouth, I have to watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my members quit this game. Every single time.
Well, it's painfully obvious too that this patch was not tested by the upper tier raiders, man. Like it's like if you go like Nightmare Council, it's a fucking joke. It is like easier than it was 60 at level 60 when you were or at level 55 when you were a 60. It is like easier than that. But you go to Nightmare Brontis. Nightmare Brontis is, I would put it somewhere in between Nightmare Brontis Nightmare power buff and
I would say it's more difficult than actual release.
I would
because
I would say that it's
pretty
harder than
Yeah.
I would say it's harder than Nightmare Power.
I mean, the damage that's going out is just completely brutal. And to compare that next to Council, it just doesn't make fucking sense. And then going into like some hard mode operations, like just to be like, we did Bulo and Torque. Like, I don't even think they increased the fucking hit points of Torque, like at all. Like we went in there and I think, what did we do when we did Torque? Kurt? Yes, like we ignored all of the little droids going to fix the council, and like we literally just brute forced our way through it. We're like, oh, this boss only has this amount of health. We're like, ignore everything else, just DPS the boss, and we
Dude,
killed it.
Torque was hitting 10Ks on me. Like I literally alt tabbed and browsed 9gag while doing that.
And then Revan is a complete joke right now. If you can do mechanics, all the guilds out there, you can listen to this. If you can do mechanics, if you read the guide for Revan, you can kill that boss, because that boss is easy as shit right now. The Shiv,
You played it on like the third day with like 198 and like
yeah.
8 story mode games.
So the
which,
Shiv,
shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
the Shiv,
If
which
you
used
remember
to,
correctly, Jack.
the Shiv
you
used to
remember-
hit for like 12 to 24k, depending on how many stacks you had. If you got 4 stacks as a freaking tank, you were fucking dead. Period. You were not living through
Negative.
4 stacks,
I have-
unless you
I
were
have
like.
healed through it.
Unless you have like Shroud up or some other cooldown and shit. But now, like, when I tank with Kurt, I fuck with him and I'm like, let me see how many stacks I can give this guy, dude, because it only hits for like, it hits for 2k. So I think one time I looked and Kurt had like 6 or 7 stacks, man. I'm like, better than you and me, buddy.
Yeah, like
And
Revan
even
now,
at
like,
7 stacks, it was hitting for 10% of my HP. So
Uh,
Yeah, well, in Revan now, both Prodigy and I take turns on who's gonna single heal the fights. Like that's what we've resulted to doing, to making it challenging for each other.
You make your own nightmare mode.
yeah, right.
And that's kind of what we have to do. I mean, like,
Build your own nightmare.
We had an idea in Phantoms that we were going to use green level like 50 gear with Nightmare Crystal. And
That's what I was
see
gonna
if
say.
we
You
could
gotta do it. You
content.
gotta do it naked. Like everybody goes in with just a weapon and see. All right, let's do this.
Drax,
Yeah.
I would
Did
love
that
to be-
before.
I would love to be a
everyone
part of that.
This is what we do for fun now. Everybody gets on random classes, and then we go into like hard mode TOS like that. Just people playing. Like I did it on my Sin the other day, and I was like, yeah, this is really fun. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just, I'm done. Salty.
Well, good. Well,
But
hey,
again-
I think we're gonna wrap it up, you guys. Thanks very much for coming on and
Yeah, seriously, man.
letting your voice be heard. Literally dozens of people.
Hopefully, a couple people will. And you know, I think lending your voice to it does help. You know, poster definitely something that everybody looks at, but you know, squawking a little bit never hurts.
Well, yeah, and like I said, like I keep to come back to is we're all part of a bigger ecosystem.
totally.
You know, we all have a role to play.
I'm the one that everybody feeds on, so it's all good.
It's like Jack is the one we all make fun of. So like,
Yes.
everyone has their role.
Some shitty. I get
Very
carried.
good.
Use the crystal. Yeah.
Do you guys want to throw out your contact info if we're looking for your streams and/or guides and/or maybe some new recruits?
Definitely, I can go first. I'm streaming right now, so my stream name is twitch.tv/TC Thief, and that's my main on Shadowlands is TC Thief, and then anything Jack, Jack's Power Tech, Jack's Sniper, Jack's Gunslinger. I got tired of naming tunes, so I just name them Jack and then whatever they are and stuff. So if you see Jack something, that's me.
Yeah, oh, go Kurt.
Just go ahead.
As far as Perfectus goes, I mean, like, yeah, if you think that as a person who's kind of like getting in this game and just really want to push the envelope as far as doing the damage or doing heals or just being an spectacular tank, I mean, by all means, we'd love to talk with you. I mean, you can hit us up on our site, perfectus.com or whatever. And usually when we stream, it'll be on Silk Stream. I think it's Silkbee, Twitch /Silkbee, I believe what it is. Can't 100% remember. And as far as me,
Swordor.
yeah, Prodigy Swordor, he also streams as well too. So if you want to watch anything Perfectus, if we do stream, that's when we'll stream. And yeah, as far as contacting me, I mean, message me on the forums. You can, I mean, I have a guide on Dolphy as well too. If you want to reach me through there, you can do that. Yeah. Or you can bother Jack. Jack will get me.
Yes.
If you guys are interested in 16-man raiding and Not Good Enough, you can find us at notgoodenough.com. And Jack usually does the streaming for us, so twitch.tv/TCThief. And also my contact, I'm Tomb of Freedom Nod, and you will find me as Kurt or White Chuck.
You can find me Threat over at twitch.tv/agent_threat, or check out my dank Dolphy Gates on Dolphy. Thanks.
All right, I guess that'll wrap it up, man. We appreciate you guys taking the time today. Seriously, thank you.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having us, man. If you ever want to do it again, just let us know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will. Once we get that new op up, we'll definitely.
Yeah, hopefully we can regroup when we have some good news.
Actually, I was gonna say, like, hopefully, it'll go up, and then right after the first of the year, boom, they'll fix everything, and we'll be able to come back and go, look at what happened.
Yeah, right. You gotta let us build some more salt up though.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome, thanks guys. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Indeed.
All right.
Absolutely. All right, have a good one.
All right, thanks, guys.
Later, folks.
Later.